That's right. It's time for Catching Up with Carley, presented by Meijer. And today I'm pleased to be joined by Jeff Seidel of the Detroit Free Press. How's it going, Jeff?
Very good. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Very good. Thanks for joining us. All right, we got to talk about it. How are you enjoying having sports back? I mean, from hockey to baseball, now football.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, you're talking, it went so long without sports, and then it's here. So just being able to see it, now we have the Lions playing and Tigers on the same day and different days. It's been great.
I love it. Okay, so let's focus on baseball, Tigers specifically. We're on to our last homestand of this regular season. It's been a quick one. But what have you seen out of this team that has impressed you so far?
I think the biggest thing that we're going to take away from this season, it was fun for a little while. It made it interesting during this time when we didn't have sports, but they've been able to bring up these young kids, and I mean, in some ways it's been because of injuries, but you're talking Mize, Scooble, but then a whole host of, I think it's 10 total now, of young kids, and any time they get this year is going to benefit them in the future. So it's been a big positive. I mean, a guy like Candelario, who was fighting for his job in February and has turned into this just beast of a bat. I mean, it's been fantastic for him. But yet, some of the young guys who maybe have struggled, it's going to pay dividends in a big way in the future.
All right, so we're going to dive a little deeper into some of those points you just brought up. First, let's talk about the injuries. I don't like to dwell on the what ifs, but if the team wasn't bit by the injury bug, do you believe they'd be sitting comfortably in a playoff position at this point in the season?
Oh man, I don't know if they would, but even just somebody like CJ Crone, I mean, he was playing so well, and not just his bat, but what he brought to the team in the clubhouse. I mean, everybody talked that they went into a funk. I think they lost 9 in a row right after he was hurt. Would they be in the playoffs? I don't know. Without pitching, and they've really struggled with starting pitching. I don't think you get there, but losing him alone hurt in such a big way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, knock on wood, but let's say we see another injury. Who do you think would be the next hold up?
Oh wow. I I would personally, I would love to see Jake Rogers. I'm not wishing anybody an injury, but I think Jake Rogers would benefit the same way all these other guys are benefiting from being up. I think he can benefit as well. And there's not much left, so it really doesn't matter. But just that taste and the way that you can go into the off season, I think that would be a good thing for him.
Okay, well, so let's dive into something you were talking about before starting pitching. Let's focus on the bullpen as a whole, which seems your problem for the Tigers this season. What is the issue here, and how do they get out of that slump?
Uh, but it's gone back and forth. I mean, early in the year, everything was lining up, and I know that it wasn't going to be that perfect for that long. But then as it's gone on, you've had injuries, you've had young guys. Then in addition, the starting rotation had early, especially, wasn't going more than 4 innings. So the bullpen was starting to get beat up a little bit, and then when you started to have somebody like Joe Jimenez start to struggle, it just started to carry on. But I think you might have some pieces there. I mean, Soto, Farmer. I mean, who knows how long he'll be there, but he's pitched really well. Daniel Norris. I mean, I have a hard time calling him being a bullpen guy, but he has been effective coming out of the bullpen. So it's like a whole team of, you could say, oh boy, they've fallen apart, but yet there's a lot of really good little pieces that have come out of this season.
Silver lining, I love it. Okay, for your articles, a common theme that I noticed was you highlighted a lot of these young pitchers who got the call up, like Casey Mize and Tarek Skubal. So are these breakout guys in your opinion this season? What have you seen out of them?
Well, I've seen them grow. I mean, like Casey Mize, I'm getting all the games mixed up because of all the blowouts that have happened over the last week, it seems like.
Yeah.
But Casey Mize has shown quite a bit of talent. Scooble has gone through those first couple rough things, and you can really kind of see it. So it's not just coming up and having the stuff. It's knowing, okay, the strike zone's smaller. These guys aren't going to swing at something off the black. I mean, there's so many small elements that they're learning in addition to just getting comfortable. So is it a breakout year for these guys? No, I don't think they've pitched that well. But is it a huge year for the rebuilding process? I think so. And the other thing that we have to really keep in mind, even when somebody struggles, or when the first time we talked, Miggy was really struggling, and then he really started to heat up again. This is such a small sample size. Even somebody like Candelario, who's really, really done well, it's still a small sample size. So it's hard to tell.
Right. Okay, I'm going to double back on Candelario, excuse me. When we were talking about him earlier and we were saying he was kind of gunning for his job back in February, what do you think is different about him? Why do you think he's succeeding so much in this season?
I think it's purely confidence. I mean, you had somebody, I think he was 0 for 17 to start the season. I mean, that's a guy who could have been sent back down to Toledo. They kept him up. You got to give him props for that. At the same time, when he was struggling offensively, he was still making defensive plays. He was playing really well at third. Then he started to hit, and something just came alive in this guy. And then by switching to first, he hasn't been perfect. Still learning a new position. He's shown plenty of nice plays, and then his bat has been ridiculous. Avila has said this is who they thought they were getting. I mean, if this continues next year, wow, he's a heck of a player.
We have faith in the Candyman. Okay, so we also saw a few good call-ups throughout the season, including Isaac Paredes and Daz Cameron. Is this the beginning of a new Tigers core, including those young pitchers that we talked about previously?
I absolutely think so. And I always give you props for being able to say Paredes' first name correctly, because I can't. But yes, I mean, but then where it becomes interesting is like, where does a Jacoby Jones fit in this? Where does a Nico Goodrum fit in this? And then you have some catchers in Toledo, Jake Rogers, the Ohio State draft pick, and you can start to see it. And then still, okay, let's say you have 3 or 4 of those young kids, and then you add a Riley Green and a Torkelson. Now you're starting to see things start to come together.
Like forming a new team. It's kind of crazy to think about in this rebuild. But okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot. Yeah. Looking back at the season they've played so far, who is your MVP? I'll even let you pick a rookie and a veteran. So we'll get 2 MVPs out of you.
I would go Scope and Candelario.
Oh, that was pretty easy for you. I love it.
Yeah. Scope, he's just been there every single day. He seems to come up with great hits. But it's his defense as well as like the ability to charge and the ability to twist a double play anytime he wants to almost. And Candelario, my goodness, if there was a breakout season, I think it would be him.
I agree completely. They've been very good additions to this team. Okay, so let's look ahead. And after a not-so-hot weekend from the Tigers, what are you looking for them to do against the Kansas City Royals to snap this losing streak now?
I'm going to be really honest. I don't think it matters anymore. They're out of it, I think. And I was the one who was saying for 6 weeks, this team has a shot. I don't think they have a shot anymore. So it doesn't matter to me about snapping losing streaks or that kind of thing. It's just continued development, as well as the ability to end the season on a good note. Like, you don't want Candelario to suddenly go in an 0 for 20. You don't want you don't want any of the young pitchers to just start grabbing their arm or anything like that. Get out of this healthy and on an up note, and I think that's all that matters.
We do have to take a step back out of the season and to think, like, how crazy is it? From the Tigers we saw last season to this season, they were in that playoff push for a second there. There's definitely silver lining coming out of the season.
And I think it started with the 4 free agents they picked up. Some of the young kids started to evolve. But then at different stages of the year, you had different guys picking it up. From Jacoby Jones early in the year to Candelario late to Miggy, he had a hitting streak for a while. It's been an absolutely strange year. But the strangest part to me is the fact that we're sitting here and it's almost at the end. There were times I never would have thought that would happen when there were different outbreaks with different teams early in the year. And the fact that they've gotten to this stage is a testament to the players for taking these protocols seriously, for not being stupid on the road. You have to give them credit for getting to this stage. I mean, all of baseball.
Jeff, thank you so much for joining me on Catching Up with Carley, presented by Meijer. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I hope to do this again soon.
Great. Thank you very much for having me.